Hey everyone, Brian Zane here from Wrestling with Regret. I'm here at WrestleCon in New Orleans, and I am joined by a multiple-time champion in WWE, hardcore European tag team, former head trainer of Tough Enough. Now he's running his own brand, Collar and Elbow, and now he's the new owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, Mr. Al Snow. Mr. Snow, thank you so much for doing this interview.
Thank you very much.
This news just came out the other day that you've bought OVW from Danny Davis. Let me ask you this question. You've been in the business for a long time. You've seen the ins and outs of it. What made you decide, yeah, running a wrestling federation is a good financial move?
Well, OVW has a long, very rich history. In fact, we're 28 weeks away from our 1,000th television episode. So outside of Raw and the former Memphis television, OVW's got the longest running consecutive wrestling show in the United States. So that was one big motivating factor. Another is the history of all of the incredible talent that have come from there, and the fact that I love the wrestling business, and I believe that you can create a sustainable, independent, regional territorial system that will allow for the development and creation of future superstars.
So yeah, talk to me about your long-term goals with being the new owner. Do you have any plans for like expansion or more shows on television, or keeping things sustainable where they are now? Like what are your goals?
Well, where we are now is great, but I certainly want to go into other markets in and around the state of Kentucky, and also in southeastern and southwestern Ohio, Indiana, in those surrounding areas. And basically, just like we used to back in the day with the territories, bicycle it's a term where you would literally take the tapes to different television stations, but now we can do it electronically. And then run live events, use the television for what it's for, which is a commercial for your product, and the product are your wrestlers. Allow them to advertise themselves on television and become a draw, an attraction that draws people to the live events, and create that environment again that allows for the talent to build, in essence, their own voice that allows them to become true stars that then can go to the next level, which is WWE or beyond.
Excellent. Now, I've been told that Indiana, especially, has a lot of restrictions with the type of wrestling that can be done there, and I know that that territory that IWA Mid-South is up there in Indiana. Do you think there's going to be any? Do you foresee many territorial issues with with any states that are bordering Kentucky?
Not really. I mean, I don't know what possible issues there could possibly be. I mean, I want to have a exciting, somewhat edgy, but still family-oriented wrestling show, much like it's, I'm not reinventing the wheel. Just so I want to make that clear. I'm not reinventing. There you go. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not coming up with something new. It may seem like it's new in today's environment, but to be quite honest, it's something it's been done and done and done and done and done. The only thing that's changed about professional wrestling, I promise you, I swear to you, the only thing that's changed about professional wrestling is the level of sophistication of the audience. That's it. The production, the presentation, the entire show has evolved, has developed, but the wheel is still round. Nobody's reinvented the wheel. They haven't made it hexagonal. They haven't made it octagonal. What we were selling in 1801 is the same thing we were selling in 1938. Is the same thing we were selling in 1969. It's the same thing we were selling in 1982. It's the same thing we're selling today, and it's the same thing I'll be selling in OVW. And that's the finish. And this may come as a surprise, but people have known for literally decades that wrestling is predetermined. And that is the only thing about professional wrestling that's fake. And that's the only thing that an audience pays to believe in. And if you don't give that to an audience, then an audience on a mass scale will not pay to see it. You'll get the niche audiences who appreciate the physical nature of wrestling, but you won't get the mass audience, and that's what I try to do, is I try to market towards Mr. and Mrs. Walmart, because let's face it, that's the largest percentage of the population is Mr. and Mrs. Walmart. Everybody shops at Walmart. So if I'm going to run a business, am I going to market to just wrestling fans? Well, no. Why? Because they're going to come. Because wrestling fans are fans of wrestling. I know what it's like because I'm still just a fan of wrestling. And that's why I want to have OVWs, because I'm such a fan of the wrestling business. But Mr. and Mrs. Walmart, that's a different story. Now you've got to create characters and give them something that they can believe and buy into, if nothing else, for just the period of time while they're sitting there watching the show. And this may be a shock, but in 1976, I was 12 years old, and I said, I want to be a professional wrestler. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, said, why do you want to do that? That's fake. My grandmother was never a professional wrestler. How did she know that? Because everyone has known it, and everyone has always known it. And the reason that we as fans love it and that we continue to pay to see it is that we can believe in what we see when we're seeing it.
Back to the nuts and bolts about OVW. I read in the article that I read about it that Danny Davis is retiring. What about Rip Rogers? What will his status be at OVW?
Rip is still going to be there. I am a firm believer in, because I'm going to build the school back up again, make it very strong and very active, and I believe that experience is the key to knowledge, not information. You can have all the information you want to have, and all of us do. And we live in an age where at your fingertips you can get any information you want on any topic. But if you don't have the commensurate amount of experience to go with that information, you have no real knowledge. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And Rip Rogers is an incredibly valuable resource because he has not just the information, he has a wealth of experience that just the average wrestler these days can't get anymore because it just doesn't exist. So Rip's certainly going to be there and be a part of it. I hope I don't lose him.
So other than owner, what will your other roles be with OVW? Will you be in charge of marketing, or will you also be booking? What's your plan?
Everything. I mean, it's going to be my baby, so nobody takes care of your business like you do yourself. And, I'll very much, have my hands in as much as I can. But I can't do it all on my own, and it's certainly going to be a team effort. It's going to be guys like Rip and a lot of other key people that are going to be in key places that, I'm going to be relying on very heavily to help me out.
Can I make one suggestion for someone in your upper brass for OVW? Can we get Head as commissioner of the On Air Talent?
Well, of course. Head would be overseeing everything.
Of course.
Head's always in charge.
Because Head goes head and shoulders above everything else. Al Snow, thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Now, what's the website for your merchandise brand?
You can go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the discount code SNOWMAN, SNOWMAN. You take 10% off. If you are there and you want to, you can round up your purchase. The difference is contributed to Cauliflower Alley, which allows them to continue their charitable efforts with former wrestlers and boxers. And they do an awesome job. They've been around for, quite honestly, decades. I think probably since the late 50s, early 60s. And they do an amazing job. And it's our way of giving back to wrestlers that went before us. And it's not my brand, it's our brand, because we're all just wrestling fans. And so that's what I'm trying to create here.
Thank you very much. For Al Snow and Collar and Elbow, I'm Brian Zane. I'll see you next time.